Howdy, folkses. It's VileMike here, and with me is Katty Knight, aka the Vile Child.
What up, people?
This week we watched Mud's Women, and I'm not too sure how to qualify this episode.
Yeah, this one was... let's just get to it.
We open with the Enterprise in pursuit of a small, unidentified ship, which Scotty says is pushing its engines too hard, trying to avoid them. Of course, Scotty knows his engines.
The ship tries to lose the Enterprise, and, Uhura's wearing a yellow dress. Does that mean something?
It means the costume department forgot that the velour shrinks when washed too many times, and didn't have a new red one made in time for filming.
The ship tries to hide in an asteroid field. A small ship hiding from a large one in an asteroid field. This reminds me of something. Can't put his finger on it.
According to Spock, the ship is an old Earth J-class cargo ship, and its engines are about to give out, which Ensign Hillbilly immediately says happens.
Engine Hillbilly? I would say that it wasn't sensitive, but I mean, look at him. He looks like some of my dad's family back in Texas.
Well, that's right, darling, and remember, them's your kin too.
Oh!
Well, the ship is now drifting, and could be destroyed by one of the asteroids if hit, unless the Enterprise extends its shields around it. But Scotty warns that at that distance, it would put too much strain on the Enterprise. Of course, does it anyway.
The lights. Sorry. The engine starts overheating, and the shields are weakening. And then the lights start to dim?
Yeah, Sulu says one of the lithium crystal circuit things is gone. So lithium crystals are basically 23rd century fuses. And dilithium crystals help power the warp drive. Well, now I know.
A second fuse thing blows, while Scotty tries to beam up the crew of the small ship aboard.
Only now Uhura gets a distress signal, and Scotty is able to beam aboard...
A guy that looks like an unholy union of Mario, a cowboy, and a flamenco dancer? Who talks like an Irish drunk?
Are you saying there's something bad about the Irish? Because we got that in our blood too.
What's not in our blood?
Whatever accent I can't pull off even remotely.
Well, Flamenco Mario says his name is Leo Walsh, and there is no way he is not the villain in the episode.
Yeah, pretty much. Back on the bridge, another lithium fuse blows, and they are forced to switch to battery power. But that is making things rough for Scotty, who is trying to beam up the rest of the small ship's crew.
But their ship is hit by an asteroid and goes BOOM!
Scotty is able to do some transporter magic, and beams up 3 hotties.
And the Bunner Brigade is at attention. Sheesh. So, some restraint, guys. At least Spock seems normal. Do like the one on the right, though.
What?
Her outfit. I like her outfit. It looks cute.
Oh. Kirk orders the people of the small ship be brought to his cabin.
I love the look Spock gives the Doctor when he acts all smitten. And, of course, some va-va-voom music plays when the women walk out. And they get a bot shot as all the guys of the crew have to get a look at them.
Spock manages to get them to the turbo lift, where Leo Walsh asks Spock if he's part Vulcanian.
Vulcanian? Now I know he is a villain.
Yeah, some people online argue that that's a bit of early installment weirdness, but I'm choosing to think of it as that he is just a moron pretending to know more than he does, but is actually showing Spock how stupid he is.
They get to Kirk's quarters, and I love the look Spock gives just before Kirk sees the woman. Like he knows how funny it will be watching the captain try to keep it in his pants when he sees just how beautiful the women are.
And I thought Vulcanians showed no emotion. I guess that doesn't count. Either way, Kirk is flummoxed when he sees them.
Flamenco tells Kirk that the women are not actually his crew.
Flamenco Mario.
I know, I said flamingo, didn't I?
No, you said flamenco and you just forgot the Mario.
Flamenco Mario. Flamenco Mario tells Kirk that the women are not actually his crew, but are cargo? Oh, that sounds off-putting. Couldn't he just say they were passengers instead?
In one of his captain log narrations, Kirk says the women have a magnetic effect on the crew and himself.
Well, they seem to be getting something to rise.
Shush you. You're too young to be talking about things like that.
Dad, I go to a public high school. I hear far worse. Anyways, Mr. Walsh tried to explain why he fled from the Enterprise. Tries to explain why he fled from the Enterprise, but Kirk has none of it, saying how he will hold a hearing and confines Walsh to quarters.
On the bridge, Sulu and Ensign Hillbilly talk about the three women, while Spock and Scotty discuss the fact that they only have one lithium fuse thing left, and all the ship's power is running through it.
Spock suggests that they head to the lithium mine on Rigel 12. Kirk agrees, so they set a course, but it will take 2 days to get there.
On the way there, they have a hearing for Mr. Walsh. Spock asks him to say his name for the record, but when he says that it's Leo Walsh, the computer says that it's
incorrect.
Using the ship's computer as a lie detector at a hearing. That doesn't seem legal to me.
Well, they are anyway. Turns out his name is Harcourt Fenton Mudd. Harry for short. Harry Mudd. Even his name just sounds slimy.
Yeah, now that I think about it, Harry Mudd, that is Harry, kinda conjures up a disgusting image. Oh well. The computer brings up Mudd's criminal record and reads it aloud. Then Kirk reads the charges against Mudd. Galaxy travel without a flight plan or identification, ignoring the hails of the Enterprise, operating a vessel without a master's license, because Mudd's was revoked.
Mudd says he was not supposed to be the captain, but Leo Walsh, the real Leo Walsh, was going to be the captain, but he died suddenly, and Mudd was forced to take over.
While Mudd tries to explain away this and that, the women all give the guys sexy eyes, distracting them.
Mudd says he's wiving settlers? What does that mean?
Well, back in the old pioneer days, men would go out to settle the land and or seek their fortunes. And in these frontiers, there were usually few women. So some people would gather up single women that could not find a husband and take them out to these frontier places and marry them off to these lonely men.
Sounds messed up.
It pretty much was. Why this is needed in the 23rd century, I have no idea.
Well, Spock asked the computer for any information about the three women, and it appears to scan them with a light.
I don't think that's legal. Scanning someone without their permission at a hearing?
Once again, they're doing it anyways. In fact, the computer doesn't seem to detect anything strange from the women, but does detect certain changes from the male crew members in the room.
The one in the pink outfit says all the women indeed came from planets that had too few men, and they actually want to be taken somewhere to be married off.
Look, every woman can decide what they want to do with their lives, but that just seems kind of boring.
Either way, Kirk says the hearing is over and Mudd will be handed off to the nearest authorities. But there are no charges against the women, and they will be set free.
Evie, the one in pink, pleads with Kirk to take them to the planet where they were headed for, when the lights dim again. Okay, I want to point this out. My dad spelled Eevee like the Pokemon, and it's funny as all hell to me.
Shut it.
Anyways, back to the episode.
The last crystal fuse is blown, and Sulu comes in to tell them that life support is now entirely on battery power. Kirk says they need those crystals from Rigel 12 as soon as they get there, and everyone leaves but Mudd and the women.
Mudd is happy knowing that they are going to a lithium mine, where there are lonely miners there, rich lithium miners, that might just pay money for a beautiful wife. And cue commercial break. You play the SD GameSwap commercial. I need to take a shower.
This channel is sponsored by SD GameSwap. If you're into nerd stuff, you might find something you like there. They have books, movies, video games, toys and collectibles, and they even do consignment. They are also on Facebook, so go buy something. Links in the description.
After a brief shower for my daughter and a commercial break for the episode, we find the ship in need of new crystals, and Kirk worried about the effect the women are having on everyone.
Ruth, the one in green, goes to the sick bay and hits on McCoy when she walks by one of the scanners, and it goes off.
It looks like it's not the only thing about to go off, and she surreptitiously gets McCoy to answer some questions about the miners.
Meanwhile, Evie... Meanwhile, Evie ducks into Kirk's quarters. Because while on a walk, all of the men were looking at her. Yeah, that's just an excuse to get into Kirk's quarters, to try to flirt with him and get information from him. Like Ruth did to McCoy. But she just can't bring herself to do it.
Magda, the one in purple, va-va-vooms her way back to Harry's quarters after a successful attempt in getting information about the miners from a communications officer.
Evie walks in and says how much she just dislikes mud, but says she's not feeling well, claiming it's almost time.
Back on the bridge, Kirk is berating Ensign Hillbilly and Sulu because he had to give them the order to set up the orbital course twice.
Scotty expositions that they barely have enough power to get to the planet with the power they have left.
Kirk confers with McCoy about if he examined any of the women. McCoy says they refused. I guess the computer can scan them, but not the doctor. Interesting system they have above old Big E.
McCoy goes on, asking if they're really that beautiful, or just act beautiful. While Spock just looks at the two humans, who are trying to figure out why they're lusting so hard.
McCoy makes a brief nod to the episode The Man Trap, saying the women are not aliens using illusions on them, but only says that because an alien would be smart enough not to make his medical machine go bloop.
No, really, he does say bloop.
The Chief Medical Officer of the Enterprise, ladies and gentlemen, and invited transgendered species.
Back to Mud's quarters, Magda hands Mud a stolen communicator, which he uses to contact the miners on Regional 12, to make a deal for the women. Ew!
The Enterprise makes orbit, but Ensign Hillbilly says it will not last long under what power they have left. Only 3 days, 7 hours, according to Spock.
Again, in Mud's quarters, Mud is looking for something, and oh, what happened to Ruth? She turned into a hag?
Yes, all three women are suddenly not very good looking anymore.
They're hags.
And seem to be suffering from some sort of withdrawal. Mud is looking for pills, and when he finds them, Ruth and Magda immediately take them and begin to feel better and look better too.
Evie does not seem to want to take hers, staring at it in her palm.
The shot changes from Evie holding the shiny pill to Spock holding the burned and broken lithium crystal.
Spock hands it to Kirk. Then two of the miners of Regional 12 walk in.
Kirk offers to pay for the crystals. I guess at this time the Federation still uses currency. But Childress, the leader of the miners, suggests a swap instead.
Yeah, he wants the woman, and he wants Harry Mudd released, and all charges dropped. I think Spock and I have a lot in common. He's dumbfounded. So am I. Or, wait, is he able to be dumbfounded?
I don't know. Even Kirk tries to laugh, and refuses, reminding the miners that they depend on the Federation for medical help, cargo runs, and protection.
Things are not made easier when Marge...
Would you like to try again?
Marge. Things are not made easier when Mud barges in with the woman, who immediately start flirting with the woman.
I think my daughter's lesbian tendencies kind of confused that line. She meant minors.
Shush.
And it goes from bad to worse when the lights dim to conserve battery power. Mud informs the captain that he may not want to, but eventually he will have to make the deal as the ship will be out of power in only 3 days.
After another commercial break, Spock, Kirk, and Mud beam down to the planet, where the miners are entertaining the woman.
Apparently Kirk has given in and wants his crystals, but Childress blows him off to go hit on Evie. He expositions to her about the wind on the planet and how easy it is to get lost on the surface, just as a magnetic storm hits.
Evie does not seem to be appreciating the attention that she's getting from Childress, who then goes off to dance with Ruth. And eventually a fight breaks out over Magna and the two other miners.
In the kerfuffle, Evie runs out into the storm. Kirk gives chase. She tries to run, but she's really not dressed for studio fans and gaffers throwing confetti at her. We also find that Childress has also gone into the storm looking for her.
Suddenly 3 hours have passed, and Kirk is back aboard the Enterprise. And they're trying to use the sensors, but the magnetic storm is hitting hard.
Furthermore, Scotty tells Kirk that the search is eating away at what little battery power they have left. And then Uhura chimes in with more bad news. The storm is also interfering with communications with the planet, and they can no longer contact the miners.
And things go from bad to worse when Kirk asks Scotty how much battery power they have left. Scotty says that's about 5 hours.
Back on the planet, Childress appears to have found Evie, carrying her into his man cave?
And once again, things go worse, as back on the bridge, it is said that there's only 43 minutes of power left. How are they gonna get out of this one?
They finally find a heat signature. Spock thinks it might be a stove, and Kirk decides that's where they have to be and beams down with mud.
A part of me is happy Spock is right, but the other part of me hates the fact Spock was right. Because, of course, this horrible episode has a woman cooking on a stove. Spock, damn it.
Childress finds Evie cooking on the stove and is partially impressed and partially mad that she was doing so. He also comments about how he didn't try to touch her while she was passed out, as if that should score him some points.
Childress is a dick. And, of course, he likes her cooking, after complaining about how he wouldn't like it. And then, you can't make the woman feel proud. Can I smack him?
A fictional character from a show from the 60s?
Yes.
No.
Why not?
It's literally impossible.
But he's a dick.
And apparently the woman was right.
Yes!
And they're already acting kind of like a married couple. In fact, she gives him a honey-do list already about hanging the pots to get sandblasted by the wind because they don't actually have enough water to wash the pots. When he returns, she's playing solitaire or double jack by herself. He gets upset over the fact that her looks seem to be fading, that she's not as pretty as she was when he first saw her.
Oh my Spock, I'm so surprised. He only likes her for her looks.
Kirk and Mudd walk in. Kirk has figured out what Harry's been doing and orders him to tell Childress what's been going on. Apparently, Harry's been dosing the women with something called a Venus drug. Well, Childress doesn't seem to take too kindly on the fact that he's been duped by Harry Mudd. Evie's upset with him. She goes ahead and steals one of the pills and takes it, saying that all he wants is something fake, something that isn't real.
You go, girl, tell him!
Once again, Evie turns beautiful and says to Childress, "Is this really what you want? Not a woman who is willing to cook and clean and take care of you, but one that is just pretty to look at." And Childress kind of admits that he'd rather have the first kind of woman, not one that's just pretty to look at. Then Kirk says something stupid, that he actually replaced the drug that Evie just took with gelatin, meaning Evie just took a placebo that still managed to do her hair and makeup. Okay.
That must be one hell of a placebo. She doesn't need it, though. She's pretty as she is.
In the end, Eve, for some reason, decides to stay with Childress. Childress decides to give the crystals to Kirk. And Kirk decides to throw Mudd in jail. The end.
Well, not entirely over. Spock has to make one last quip about how emotional the humans were acting.
All right, Katty. What was your overall opinion of this episode?
Hate everything! Except Spock. Spock was the only good part.
Yeah. What do you think the moral of this episode is?
Guys are stupid. Well, what do you think the moral was?
Uhura looks good in a yellow dress.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, that's it, folks. It's time for us to go so we can watch the next exciting episode, which is what little girls are made of.
Not another one.
Let's hope it's not as bad as this one. Bye,
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. I can't say this line without laughing.
Incorrect.